My beloved child, I once took pride in watching you walk in faith, but lately your gaze has drifted from me. You are chasing something I cannot quite name, a thing that leaves you weary, yet strangely convinced you are doing the right thing. Stop for a moment. Don't skim these lines as you usually do, because what I am about to say is not gentle, yet it is so true it may startle your heart. I see you trying to live twice within a short life, once for a tomorrow that has not come, and once for a today you are neglecting. You gather all your anxieties to build dark scenarios in your mind, then punish yourself for what has not yet happened. You call it preparation, but in truth you are stealing the peace I desire for you to enjoy fully in this very day. You often protest, "I'm only thinking a little ahead," but I know there is nothing little about a soul that keeps pushing itself forward, leaving the present behind. You are running ahead of the light, stepping into a shapeless darkness and getting lost inside your own imaginings. Like Job, who sat in ashes trembling at every "what if," until I asked, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" Job 38:4. Do you see? Worry does not make you stronger. It only makes you forget that I am still commanding every dawn. You think yourself wise for counting each step and weighing every risk, but in truth you are dressing fear in the garment of caution. You want to clutch every outcome, as if, should you let go, everything would collapse. But do you not know that every time you tighten your grip, you are pushing my hand away from your life? Like Peter, he walked on water with faith, yet when the wind rose, he looked at the waves instead of at me, and he sank. So it is with you, only your waves are named tomorrow. Your today lies abandoned because your eyes are fixed on the day not yet. You wait for a better time, a more favorable circumstance, not realizing that this present moment is the gift I have long prepared. You starve your soul with delay, then fault me for not giving you peace. But peace is not in what you await. It is right where you stand if only you will pause to live this day as a whole. Remember Martha and Mary. While Martha busied herself with many tasks, Mary chose to sit at my feet, to listen and be still. Peace does not come from doing more, but from knowing when to stop. You want the entire map, to understand every turn before you take a step. Yet you forget. I never promised you the whole picture. I promised to hold your hand one step at a time. Like Israel in the wilderness, they received manna for one day, no more, no less. When they hoarded it, it spoiled. So too, the more you gather answers for tomorrow, the more you lose today's faith. Your peace decays because you try to live twice, once for what I have not yet said, and once for what I have already given. If you truly want your peace back, learn to live once, deeply, for today. Tomorrow will still come, but it will be beautiful only when you let me paint it, not you with your fears. My child, I still watch each worry that winds through your mind at night. You do not know that as you toss and script the worst possibilities, you are writing scenes I never authored. You are tired, not from work or circumstance, but because you have made yourself the director of your fear. You run so far ahead that you forget the light I have set at your feet. You see the darkness, not because it is so vast, but because you have wandered beyond the light of today. Do you remember Jonah? He fled from me out of fear of what had not yet happened, afraid that if he preached repentance, Nineveh would be spared, and he would look like a failed prophet. In that fear, Jonah hurled himself into a storm and into the belly of a fish, and he thought he was finished. Yet when he cried out from the deep, I did not abandon him. I commanded the fish to release him, that he might learn how fear becomes the monster people feed when they try to avoid what I have ordained. So too with you, life has not swallowed you. You swam into its mouth because you did not believe I would keep you safe if you stopped and trusted. I know your worry is not easily dropped. It wears the shape of responsibility, polished by the world's counsel. Think far ahead, Be on guard, prepare for every risk. But child, not all preparation springs from faith. Some preparations are woven from unrest, from a deep lack of trust that keeps you from letting me do my part. You want the whole result in your hand, to walk one step ahead of me to secure your safety. But do you not see? Each time you go first, my light falls behind you and all you can see is a road covered in shadow. When you live in the fear of the future, you bind yourself with the rope of what if? What if I fail? What if I'm abandoned? What if tomorrow is no better than today? You stage a tragic play, cast yourself as the lead, and shed your own tears. Then you are surprised when peace is gone, but peace cannot dwell in a mind that always assumes the worst. You do not need to know tomorrow, you only need to hold my hand today. For I have never called you to walk by a map, I have invited you to walk by faith. Stop running ahead of the light, be still, child. Breathe deeply and look around. Do you see the sun still rises on time, leaves still unfurl, and my eyes have not left you for even a second? This is the evidence of my care. Do not fear the darkness of tomorrow. It is only the open space where you are meant to place your trust. I do not desire for you a fugitive's life, but the life of one who knows how to rest in peace. And when you finally pause, you will see another door open, where worry no longer masquerades as preparation, but is unmasked as the craving to control everything, even me. When you cease to believe that I will do better than you may stop worrying, but you begin to control. You will no longer fear the dark, you will fear losing command of the light. And there your fear wears wisdom like a cloak, making you think you are maturing when in truth you are only drifting one step farther from me. There are times I watch you arrange everything so tightly that there is no room left for me to enter. You compute every step, fret over every outcome, and tell yourself, I'm only being careful. But in truth, you are locking yourself inside a closed circle where you are both the guard and the captive. The caution you prize is sometimes only fear, carved and polished to look reasonable. You fear being wrong, losing, failing, so you try to control every detail, every person, every day. But child, I never taught you to control peace. I taught you to trust so that peace might remain. I remember the young man in the parable I told, the one called the rich fool. He stockpiled his goods, built bigger barns to store his plentiful harvests, and said to himself, now I can relax, eat, drink, and be merry. But that very night his soul was required of him. He had not committed some great crime, only one grave mistake. He believed safety was something his own hands could build. Do you see? What made him foolish was not his wealth, but his faith in his ability to control the future. And so it is with you today. Worry cannot rescue tomorrow. It only robs you of today, the only day you truly have. When you strive to control every outcome, you do not see that you are shrinking your trust. You keep me outside the lines of the plans you draw. You pray, but only to hear what agrees with your will. You seek counsel, but only from voices that soothe the decisions you've already made. You are like one pretending to ask for directions while gripping your own map. You forget that I am not a consultant. I am the guide. If you keep drawing the route and asking me to follow it, you are using me as a tool to reinforce your fear. There are days you ask me, why do I give my all and still not see the result? You do not know that sometimes I withhold what you want to spare you from what you are not ready for. I am not blocking you. I am saving you from the good you misjudge. As when I let Israel circle the wilderness for 40 years, not because I lost the way, but because their trust was not yet ready for the promised land. So it is with you. I have not forgotten you. I am waiting for you to learn how to loosen your hands. Sometimes I watch you praying with your jaw still clenched. You want peace, yet you keep the wheel in your grip. You want a miracle, yet you refuse any waiting that feels passive. You kneel, but your mind still stands tall. Child, peace does not come to the one who will not release the controls. It comes when you dare to let go and let me steer. Remember, the wind cannot blow into a sealed room. Likewise, grace cannot enter a heart that is not opened. I do not want you to live like a tightrope walker, tense, afraid to slip, afraid to err, afraid to stray. Learn to step back so that I may step forward. Let me do what you cannot, for if everything remains within your reach, what need would you have of me? When you trust your own wisdom to manage every variable, you slowly lose the holy simplicity of faith. Faith is not blindness. It is the courage to step when you cannot yet see the road. Do not forget, true wisdom is not knowing everything, but knowing where to stop so I can finish the rest. You often think, if I don't worry, who will? But I have said before, the birds of the air neither sow nor reap, yet your Father in heaven feeds them. It is not that they are lazy, they simply fly in the right direction. You only need to relearn how to fly, not how to control the wind. I know the hardest thing for you is not action, but stillness. Silence unnerves you because it feels like losing power, yet in the silence, I am still at work, and what you must do is keep your trust long enough to see it. There was a time Peter cast his nets all night and caught nothing. When I told him to lower the nets on the other side, he hesitated. Master, we have worked hard all night and caught nothing, but at your word I will let down the nets. And you know what happened, the nets were filled to the point of tearing. Do you see? The miracle did not come from the strain of hauling the nets, but from the moment he yielded when he did not need to understand, only to trust. So it is with you. Do not ask why there is still no result. Ask yourself, am I following my Lord's word, or am I trying to bind him to mine? If one day you grow weary from trying to control too much, stop. Let things slip from your hands without fear. Allow yourself to be a little weak, so that I may be strong within you. Let the thought that you must make it happen melt away and give place to the gentleness of trust. You will see that all you have tried to arrange will fall into place when you cease striving. True peace is not found in getting what you want, but in believing that even when you don't, you are still wholly loved by me. As you begin to learn the art of letting go, you will discover something deeper. The root of control is not only fear, but also the hunger to prove yourself to be smart enough, strong enough, good enough. But, my child, I have never demanded that you be enough. Your very not enough is the open space where my grace pours in. And when you accept your limits, you will stop forcing everything to run according to your will. Only then will you be truly free, not because you are in charge, but because you allow me to lead. Among the many things that trouble you, let me remind you of one. Stop insisting on knowing the outcome before you take a step. You do not need to see the destination to know you are on the right road. The light I give does not illuminate the whole path. It is just enough for one step, so that you must keep trusting. Whatever you try to control grows heavy. Whatever you entrust becomes light as the wind. And when you learn to walk in that lightness, you will no longer fear loss or error or delay. You will know that peace does not come from mastering results, but from being guided moment by moment. When that day comes, you will see that your urge to control has cost you the joy of living. You no longer savor your work or give thanks, because everything has become a target to hit rather than a grace to receive. Yet I never fashioned you to carry every outcome. I ask you only to live each step fully and leave the rest to me. When you truly believe this, you will understand that the greatest mastery is not holding on, but daring to let go. One day you will look back and see that what exhausted you was not what you did, but what you clutched so it would not fall. Then you will notice that everything you once feared losing has never left my hands. And in that very moment, you will learn another lesson, deeper than letting go, that you have been neglecting the present because your eyes are fixed on what has not yet come. That is when I will whisper to you, return to today, Do not let peace slip away because you are too busy worrying about tomorrow, my child. There is something that grieves me more than the times you collapse. It is when you pass through a day without truly living it. You breathe, but do not feel. You speak, but do not listen. You look, yet do not see. Your mind keeps drifting toward what has not arrived, turning the present into a barren land you yourself are starving. You wait for a better day, a more convenient hour, a clearer sign. But I am here, in this very moment, where you stand, not in the projections of your imagining. When you keep fretting about what is coming, you are like a farmer gazing only at the sky to guess the rain and forgetting to sow seeds in the garden. You fear a barren future, so you try to water tomorrow, while the field of today cracks with drought. You do not realize that your waiting for a better time robs you of what is best the present instant. All the peace you hope to have tomorrow, I have already placed in today. Yet you search for it in the distance, like a child longing to travel far to find the very gift already lying in his hands. Do you remember the story of the Samaritan woman at the well? Her gaze was fixed on a vague future. When the Messiah comes, he will tell us everything. But I said to her, I, who speak to you, am he. Do you see? Peace, truth, and life are not hidden in what is about to arrive. They are found in the moment you recognize my presence. You are like her, always seeking a someday, while I am standing right before you and you do not know it. When you starve the present, your soul grows tired even while your body goes on. You feel empty, adrift, among the crowd, and you do not understand why joy has faded. In truth, your peace has not been taken from you. You have simply left the place where peace dwells today. You trade living for the illusion of control. You wake with your mind already at evening. You eat while worrying about the next meal. You pray while your heart is thinking about tomorrow's fear. And so you spend your life in the not yet and slowly die to the now. Do not be surprised if I seem silent while you pray. I cannot converse with a mind that is not here. You call my name, but your voice echoes into the future, while I speak in a whisper only the present can hear. You long for answers, but how can you hear when your heart is traveling through what does not yet exist? Stop, child. Look up, I am here, in the breath you just drew, in the drop of sweat that just fell, in the small shaft of light at your window. Each small thing is my word to you, but you let the noise of tomorrow drown out every sound of now. Sometimes I quietly plant a very small joy in your day, a stranger's smile, a gentle comfort, or an afternoon without rain, so that you might see I still care for you through simple things. But you scarcely notice. You think so much about the future that my little miracles become invisible. You chase after what is grand and forget that true wonder lives in each heartbeat of the present. The moment you cease to give thanks for today, your heart begins to dry out like an untended field. I do not blame you. I understand the unease within you. You fear that if you pause, life will pass you by, that if you rest, others will outpace you. But you forget that each person moves to a rhythm I, myself, have set. Sometimes slowing down is not falling behind. It is how I guide you safely past dangers you do not see. You keep running and ask why I do not grant you peace. But peace never comes to one who will not stop. To run endlessly in fear only carries you farther from me, not nearer to the thing you seek. Remember, I have never promised you a perfect future. I promised that my grace is sufficient for you today. Like the manna I gave my people in the wilderness, enough for each day and no more. If they hoarded it, the manna spoiled. So too with you. When you try to store up peace for tomorrow, it dissolves in your hands. Peace lives only in the present and dies in the grasp of those who try to keep it for the future. Learn to eat today's manna with gratitude, and tomorrow I will give you another portion. When you truly return to this moment, you will be amazed at how small things become precious. You will see the light slipping through the window as my greeting, the birds beyond the garden as a song I send, and your very breath as a gift I have placed within your chest. You will stop craving what is great, because you will know that all greatness begins with living the small things to the full. In that smallness, you will find me, again the one who is here and has never left. And then you will understand that it is not the future that is stealing your peace, but you who are abandoning it by always staring ahead. You do not need to know what will happen. You need only to know that today I am with you. When you learn to cherish the present, tomorrow's fears will vanish like mist, for whoever lives today to the full has nothing left to lose tomorrow. I want you to remember this. Peace is not a prize awarded after you complete every plan. It is the fruit that blossoms in the midst of what remains unfinished. You do not need to wait for life to settle before you can rest. You need only to pause, breathe, and recognize that I am here. The farther you gaze into the distance, the more you starve your soul. Come back to the garden you already have, where every flower, every drop of dew, every small moment is calling your name, and when you consent to sit with today, you will hear a very soft word in the wind. Do not fear tomorrow, for I am here right now. In that moment you will see that peace is not a destination but a journey of trust, acceptance, and surrender. And when you have learned to live fully in the present, you will be ready for what comes next, where I want you to understand more deeply that there are questions you do not need to answer, only the hand you need to hold as I lead you step by step. My child, I see in you a very strange thirst, not for water but for knowing. You want to understand everything, predict every turn, and see the whole road before you dare to walk it. You fear the fog, the unannounced crossroads, so you gather information, forecast, draft plans, and call it thorough preparation. But in truth, you are trying to take my light and store it for yourself. You want to hoard answers like someone collecting seeds he never sows. You want the comfort of certainty without the risk of trust. Yet faith does not grow in the safety of daylight. It sprouts in the dim places where your only choice is to take my hand. I know you fear not knowing. You have been hurt by surprises. You have stumbled through what you did not foresee, and now you want to know everything so you will never be surprised again. You think that if you understood all things, you would no longer hurt. But, my child, knowing everything will not make you stronger, it will rob you of the capacity to trust. You do not see that the spaces of not yet are exactly where I work. If you had the whole map, you would not need a guide. If you possessed every detail, where would grace find room? I remember Abraham, who obeyed my call to leave his homeland without knowing where he was going. He heard only, "Go to the land I will show you." No map, no coordinates, no plan, only a promise, and he believed. In those uncertain steps, the blessing was sown. Do you see? Abraham did not become great because he knew what lay ahead, but because he dared to go when he knew nothing at all. But you want to know before you go. You want me to unveil the entire picture, and if I did, you would choose safety rather than choosing me. You have grown accustomed to researching and forecasting, asking one person and then another, pleading with me for signs, yet in truth, you are not seeking me. You are seeking certainty. At times you pray not to hear my voice, but to feel assured that you are on the right track. You do not realize that real peace does not come from knowing you are right, but from knowing you are led. You pray, "Your will be done," while quietly adding, "so long as it aligns with mine," and when I am silent, you think I have abandoned you. But, my child, sometimes I am silent not because I am far from you, but because you are not ready to hear a different answer than the one you want. I never promised to explain everything. I promised to walk with you through everything. Answers are not the destination. The journey is what transforms you. Yet you stand still, waiting to understand better, before you move like a child who refuses to light a lamp until the night is over. You forget that light does not come before you kindle it, just as faith does not grow before you begin to walk. You wait to be free of doubt before you trust, while I keep waiting for you to trust in the very midst of doubt. Let me tell you about Gideon, whom I sent into battle with only 300 men against a countless enemy. He asked me for a sign, and then another, just to be sure. But in the end, when he stopped asking, he saw a miracle. For miracles come when you cease hoarding answers and begin to act in faith. The more you ask, why, when, how, the more you pull yourself out of step with my rhythm. I do not withhold answers to make things hard for you. I keep them back to keep you close, one step at a time. There are things I do not say, because if I did, you would run ahead. There are paths I do not reveal, because if I revealed them, you would look for shortcuts. There are events I leave in mist, because there you learn to listen to me more deeply. Do not mistake my silence for emptiness. It is an invitation to trust. Each time you try to comprehend everything, you choke faith. But when you dare to move without understanding, you make room for the miracle to come. Believe me, what you do not grasp today will one day become what you thank me for. You want to draw every road in advance, but you do not see that not knowing is what gives the journey its soul. I have seen many like you who begin in faith and then slowly replace it with certainty, but certainty without me is only an illusion. You want safety, yet true safety is not knowing all things. It is knowing I am with you. You keep asking me to show you the whole map, but if I did, you would stop praying. Because I love you, I shine just enough for one step, so that you must return to me for the next. At times I will lead you down winding ways that make no sense. You bristle and ask, why not the shorter route? But when you arrive, you will see I spared you chasms your eyes could not detect. The answer you seek is not always in the why, but in the who leads you. When you know the who, you will no longer need the why. Let me keep my secrets. For some things I hide not to conceal them, but to protect you. If you pause and look around, you will see I have never left you to walk alone. Every time you fell, I upheld you. Every time you strayed, I drew you back. Why then do you still think you need to know everything to be at peace? You do not need the map. You need to know the hand that holds yours is mine. Maps may change, but this hand will not. Believe that you will never be lost as long as you hold on to me. When you learn this, you will feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. You will stop running after answers, because you will understand that sometimes the answer comes not in words but in presence. As long as I am here, you do not need to know in advance. When you stop trying to figure it all out, you will begin to feel. When you stop straining to understand, you will begin to trust. And when you truly trust, you will see you do not need the whole map to be unafraid. For I know the way you take, even when you do not. I know what you need before you ask. I know what must come first and what must come after. Every step you take in the dark, I walk beside you in the light. All you need is to place your hand in mine, that is enough. Do not fear not knowing. Do not fear the fog. There, you are being kept safe. And when you have learned to walk in trust, I will lead you into what comes next, where you will see that your burden was never not knowing, but carrying the anxieties of tomorrow that I have not asked you to bear. My beloved child, I see how heavily your shoulders are weighed down, not by what I have entrusted to you, but by what you have taken on yourself. You carry tomorrow on your back, while I ask only that you live fully today. You worry over what has not yet happened, imagine scenarios that have not come to pass, and call it responsibility. Yet, my child, some burdens do not spring from faithfulness, but from a lack of trust. You trust your own strength more than mine, so you keep picking up the very worries I told you to lay down. and so you are exhausted not because life is cruel, but because you are hauling a load you were never given. I have never placed on you the fear of the future. I assign to you only the work of this day, the portion of loving, of living, of trusting. But you gather up what has not yet arrived and stack it on your shoulders, as though the world would collapse if you did not bear it. You forget that I am the one who holds the universe in my hand, not you. You do not need to strain to control everything. You need only to trust that I am still governing all things. Like the faithful servant, in my story, you are to tend the small work of each day, not run about trying to oversee the master's affairs. Do you long to live in peace? Then return to me what you cannot change. When you try to carry what exceeds your strength, you trade the lightness of your soul for a counterfeit sense of control. You think, if I don't worry, who will? But, my child, I have cared for you before you even knew how to worry. Yesterday I cared for today, and today I am caring for tomorrow. Your worry does not make things better, it only makes your heart heavier. You cannot hold up the sky, but I can. You need only to take my hand, and for the rest let me carry it. For if you clutch your anxieties, you are taking over my work. Once I said to my disciples, "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or gather into barns, yet your Father in heaven feeds them." You have heard this many times, but do you truly believe it? The birds are not without concern, yet they fly with the wind I send. And you try to fly against the wind, wanting to command it rather than yield to it. Then when you grow weary, you accuse me of not helping. But I have always helped you, are simply bracing yourself so tightly that you do not allow me to touch your wings. When you live in tomorrow's worries, you steal the peace of the present. You think you are preparing, but in truth, you are forfeiting life. You torment yourself with scripts that have not unfolded, panic over what has not arrived. You call it foresight, but it is fear in disguise. I do not want you to live that way. I do not need you to shoulder my part, for when you clutch everything, you are saying, you are not trustworthy. Each time you lie awake over what I have not ordained, you wound yourself with what is not real. Do you remember Mary and Martha? When I came to their house, Martha busied herself with many tasks, while Mary sat at my feet to listen. Martha complained, thinking I did not see how much she was carrying. But I said, "Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. Only one thing is needed. Do you see? Peace does not come to the one who does more, but to the one who can stop. You are living like Martha, running in circles to perfect everything, while what I desire is simply that you sit and hear me say, I am still here. I do not blame you for being anxious. I know your heart is frail. I know you want to be good, to do everything well. Yet I want to teach you something deeper. Love does not mean taking over another's load. When you love someone, you want to protect and provide. But even love has human limits. Only I can care perfectly for each person and each matter. Trust that those you love, I love even more. You do not need to take on the responsibility of loving the whole world for me. You need only be faithful to your small portion. I watch you strive to the point of collapse, and it grieves me. You think my silence means I am not helping. In truth, I am waiting for you to set the burden down so I may lift it up. I cannot carry it while you cling to it. As a father cannot lift his child while the child clutches a heavy backpack, I can lift you only when you let go. At times, you do not need to be stronger, you need to be lighter. And to grow lighter, you must learn to release what is not yours to bear. You often say, I cannot let go because I'm afraid everything will fall apart. But, my child, precisely when you release it, you will see that I am the foundation holding all things together. The world teaches you that peace is the result of control. I teach you that peace is the reward of surrender. My yoke is kind, and my burden is light. Keep your own yoke and you will grow weary. Trade it for mine and you will find rest. I do not promise you will never face trials, but I promise you will never face them alone. There will be days that feel too long, a future that seems shrouded, a heart worn, thin from waiting. You will ask, when will this season pass? But, my child, even on that heavy stretch of road, I am at work. Every tired step you take, I see. Every sigh you breathe, I hear. Do not pick up loads you were not called to carry, for I never meant you to break beneath such cares. You were made to walk in grace, not to shuffle forward in fear. Let me tell you about Elijah, who once believed he could no longer go on. After victory on Mount Carmel, he fled, exhausted, and begged me to take his life. But I did not rebuke him. I sent an angel to touch him and say, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." Do you see? I did not fault his weakness. I invited him to rest. And you as well. When you are too tired, I am not angry. I only want to touch your shoulders, set bread and water by you, and say, "Rise, my child. I will walk the rest with you." You do not need to be strong. You need to be faithful. Do not try to prove you can carry it all, for that only robs you of peace. Live more lightly, for I have borne the heavy weight for you. Whenever your heart is uneasy, remember, peace is not found in knowing what will happen, but in knowing who walks with you. You cannot carry tomorrow's cares, for I have not assigned that day to you yet. Tomorrow has its own burden. Today, you need only carry today's small portion with me. And when you truly believe this, life will grow lighter. You will stop gripping everything, stop fearing what is to come, stop blaming me for what you do not yet understand. You will learn to smile in the storm not because you are stronger, but because you know whose hand holds yours. You will stop rushing ahead, stop looking sideways, and learn to take small steps with me. Then you will realize, I never asked you to live twice, once in today and once in tomorrow. I ask you to live fully, only once, right here, in the present, where true peace waits. And if one day your heart still trembles with fear, remember that I have never grown weary of upholding you. You need only lift your eyes and whisper, "Father, I cannot carry this anymore." That is enough. For in that very moment, I will lay my hand upon your shoulder, smile, and say, "You do not need to carry it because I already have." My child, I know your heart still sways amid life's fog-bound stretches, where every step feels like treading on thin mist, unsure where the edge is and where the ground is firm. But I want you to understand that peace is not when the waves grow quiet, but when you learn to stand still in the wind and hear your own heartbeat fall in rhythm with my breath. Many have crossed those barren valleys, carrying questions without answers, and they found the way out only when they realized that what they sought was not at the end of the road, but in each step offered in faith. Someone once lifted his face to the sky and asked, "Why does my life forever teeter among nameless crossroads?" The answer was not a voice thundering from afar, but a stillness that slipped into his heart, light as a breeze, saying, "I am here." You know, I have seen people spend entire lives building walls around their fear ramparts so strong that even light can scarcely pass through. They called it preparation, strategy, security, but in truth it was only a thin armor hiding a fragile heart. They believed that if they worried enough and calculated well enough, all would be safe. Yet worry has never been the path to peace. I have watched them, when their schemes finally crumbled, still be gathered into the very hands they once doubted. For peace does not come from holding on, but from letting go of the small self to touch my boundless life. There was a man who sat by a window in a storm, lightning dividing his face between faith and doubt. He thought that if he tried harder, grew wiser, became stronger, fear would vanish. But that fear was a mirror reflecting the deepest place within him, the place where he had never dared to believe that I love him not because he is strong, but because he is weak. When he finally sighed, stopped wrestling with fate, and had strength only to say, "Lead me," the road opened before him. Not because obstacles disappeared, but because his gaze turned from the darkness of the future to the present, where I was holding his hand. And there was a woman who lived among dreams withered, like a droughted field, tallying her losses day and night. She believed that if she worked harder and grew shrewder, she could force destiny to listen, but I knew how tired her heart was. She did not see that with each lifted face and each silent tear, I was there. When I told her, "Let go," she heard a call to surrender in defeat. But letting go is not losing, my child. It is trusting that the river flows even when you cannot see its source. When she stopped, when she ceased forcing life to follow her schedule, grace began to move. What seemed like coincidence was the perfect plan I had prepared. And on the day she understood that peace is not grasping the future but being held by the future in my hand, she smiled, the smile of one who has found home in trust. I tell you their stories not for your admiration but so you might see yourself in them. Human hearts have always wavered like this. You fret over tomorrow, fear what has not yet come, and build fences of plans to shield yourself from the winds of fate, forgetting that the wind is also my breath. You chase after peace, and the chase itself steals peace from you. Peace is not a finish line, but the way of one who pauses, breathes deeply, and realizes that I am breathing with you in this very moment. Sometimes you look around and feel lost in 1,000 noises, where each person shouts louder to be heard and tries to master their own fate. But I call you in a gentle voice, without force, without clamor. I do not push into the rushing crowd. I stand in the quiet corner and wait for your eyes to turn. Every time you pause, even for a second, to breathe and hear your own heartbeat, you draw nearer to me. For I am not far away in some splendid sanctuary. I am in the warmth of your breath, in the steady pulse that testifies you are alive and alive in me. I know there are nights you cannot sleep, troubled by the future, afraid you will lose what is precious. But, my child, what truly belongs to you cannot be taken, and what does not belong to you will drift away no matter how tightly you hold it. Trust that every loss is not emptiness but space for me to place something new. Let your losses be the soil for coming grace. As a seed must split for life to sprout, so must you break free of fearful self to see that you are enveloped by a love that does not change. Someone once asked me, "Why don't you show me the road ahead?" I smiled, for if they saw it, they would no longer need faith. I lead you step by step, not letting you know everything, but enough for you to know that I am leading. Like a lamp at your feet in the night, it does not shine far, but it is bright enough for one more step. You take the step, I take care of the path. For if you knew it all, you would lean on yourself, and leaning on yourself, you would be lost again. Look back over your life, my child. How many times did you think every door was shut until a shaft of light opened somewhere? How many times did you think all was lost, only to find an unseen hand arranging everything on time, in place? This is not randomness. It is my footprint, quiet yet sure, set down in the midst of days that felt chaotic. Peace is not the absence of trials, but the certainty that I am with you in them. Nothing that comes to you falls outside my will, for I have written your story in the ink of love. And when you learn to listen, you will see that what you fear is but an echo of the past and a premonition of the future, while the present, where I am, is always calm. Each breath you take, each pause you keep, draws you deeper into my arms. You need not become someone else, nor accomplish something great for me to love you. Your simple presence, with all your weakness and honesty, is enough. In my eyes, no failure is meaningless, no tear is wasted, Every pain you pass through is a current carrying you nearer to the ocean of grace. So return, my child. Come back to this breath, this heartbeat, this light pouring into your eyes. Do not seek me in tomorrow, for I am here in every moment now. All that you need is already given. All that you have lost I will restore. Every wound will heal, not because time mends it, but because my love covers it. Let your heart be still, and let me do the rest. For only when you truly rest in me will you see that this world, no matter how stormy, can become a hymn of peace. My child, have you ever noticed that deep within every heart, whether strong or tender, there lives a longing to be at peace, to be understood, to be led through the tangled thickets of life? People often think that those called successful, extraordinary, or blessed have far-seeing vision, unshakable plans, and a rarer kind of inner strength. Yet in truth, the turning point of their lives lies not in sharper calculations or farther sight, but in learning to trust, in the art of letting themselves rest in the arms of the one who sketched every line of their story. The future, my child, is not a canvas we feverishly paint in fear of spoiling our own strokes. It is the linen the Creator is patiently tinting, each touch of His brush steeped in grace. When you strain to control every detail, when you try to define happiness as the flawless fit of every fragment, you will feel joy slip farther away. For true happiness is not seeing the whole road, but knowing who walks beside you on it. There was once a young man who believed life could be perfect only when everything unfolded as planned, who thought joy would arrive only when every wish took form. He counted days, measured outcomes, and searched for the signs of peace somewhere ahead, forgetting that the present was passing beneath his feet. He went looking for meaning in tomorrow and did not see the mystery taking place in each breath today. When he grew weary, he fell to his knees, bowed his head in despair, and whispered, "O Lord, I no longer have the strength to carry it all." In that very moment that seemed like breaking, he felt unseen arms wrap around him, gentle and steadfast. No blinding light burst forth, no path suddenly cleared, only a warmth seeped into his heart, like a small candle in the night. And when he rose, the miracle had occurred. The burden had not entirely vanished, yet his heart was light. He understood that he no longer had to walk alone, that whether the way ahead was dark or winding, a hand would lead him step by step. You see, true peace does not come from knowing everything, but from trusting that there is someone who knows in your place. Like the mother who, for years, lived in quiet fear for her children, who spent long nights staring into the dark, imagining countless futures. Would they be hurt, lose their way, find peace in a world of snares? A mother's heart is wide, and so her fear runs deep. Then one night, while the wind at the eaves murmured like eternity's whisper, she softly said, "O Lord, I cannot protect them forever. Please, keep them." In that instant, the miracle unfolded not outside her, but within. Her fear dissolved like morning mist before the dawn, and a tender calm took its place. From then on, she no longer clutched her children's future, but learned to open her hands, letting the one who made them write the rest of their story in a way more perfect than her prayers. Years later, looking back, seeing her children grow and flourish in ways she had never foreseen, she wept not from regret, but because she knew heaven's grace had been quietly weaving what far exceeded a mother's dreams. There was also a man who thought his life had missed its chance. He carried in his heart memories of bright days and first flame dreams, yet the years had seemed to snuff that light with failure, with loss, with stretches that felt empty. He passed through many seasons with a worn-down faith, surviving by habit alone, convinced the best lay behind him and that only evening shadows waited ahead. But, my child, God never closes the book while we still believe it is unfinished. He restores years that have been ravaged, gathers the shards of hope, and fashions something new. One day, just when the man felt he had reached the bottom, God opened another way, not a road back to the past, but an entry into a new beginning. New friends, new opportunities, joys he thought long dead began to sprout, and he came to see that happiness was not in what he could control, but in the trust that each step was guided by a hand of love. Do you see? The people in these stories share one thing. They stop chasing the mirage of owning the future. They learn to live the present with trust. When you strain to steer everything, you trade away your peace. When you entrust, you are free. Trust is not passivity. It is acting with serenity, knowing the outcome rests in the hands of the Most High. As a painter does not need to see the entire picture from the first stroke, but trusts his hand and lets each line lead to completion, so your life is the canvas of the Creator. He does not misdraw. He does not mix the wrong hue. It is only that, at times, your patience has not yet ripened to behold the finished work. Perhaps each of us carries a little of that young man, that mother, that older man. We too have tried to control, have feared, have lost faith. Yet through our stumblings we learn there is a strength gentler than all scheming and steadier than every plan. Faith. It is faith that lifts us from the pit of despair and leads us along roads reason would not dare to tread. And in every trial, that one still whispers, "You only need to walk, leave the rest to me." Remember, my child, the future is not a thing to fear, but a reality to trust. Live fully in the present, love, believe, and step forward with the conviction that you are never alone. You may not yet see the light, but that does not mean it is absent. You may not grasp the meaning of each event, but one day, when you look back, you will find everything woven into a symphony of grace. Therefore, when you grow tired, do not be quick to scold yourself for weakness. When you feel lost, do not rush to doubt the way. Pause, breathe, and listen. In the quiet you may hear a tender call, "Let me carry this." And when you bravely release what was never yours to hold, only then will you truly take hold of what endures the peace of your soul. Believe, for the one writing your life's story does not err. Every chapter, sorrowful or joyful, is placed just so that in the end the whole tale will rise as a beautiful hymn of love and life. So do not gaze only at the sky and forget that the very ground beneath your feet is a wonder. Do not seek happiness in a far-off tomorrow, for true joy waits in this very moment where you choose to trust, to give thanks, to love. Let your heart come to rest, not because everything is perfect, but because you know you are loved, led, and held within the arms of the one who always writes what is best, even when you do not yet understand. And one day, when every doubt dissolves, you will smile, realizing that life with all its bends and turns has always been woven with the thread of grace. Let your heart rest in the gentle breath of the present, where each beat sounds like my own whisper, "I am here." You do not need to chase peace on a far horizon, for peace is never found in endless projections of the future or in dust-laden memories of the past. It dwells in this very instant where my light rests upon you, where every fiber of your soul still lives and is being tenderly upheld by a love that never tires. You often fear that if you stop thinking about tomorrow, you will miss something important, not knowing that every time your mind is bound by what has not yet come, you drop the most precious gift I give, my presence. Each time you worry about what has not happened, you step away from where I am and wander the barren desert of imagination, where there is no water, no life, only the echo of fear. My child, did I not promise never to forsake you? Have I not held your hand in the darkest seasons of your life, and am I not holding it still? Why then do you doubt my faithfulness, and let your soul be churned like the sea in a storm? I know how small you feel before the waves of life, when things slip beyond your grasp, when prayer is shadowed by suspicion, when you want to believe but your heart trembles. Yet remember, I do not require you to comprehend all my plans. I ask you to trust. Faith is not perfect understanding. It is walking in the dark while your hand remains in mine. When you learn to walk thus, you will see that light is not only at the end of the road, but within each step. For I myself am the light for your path. Do not seek safety in knowing everything, for knowledge alone never yields peace. Only trust does. Let me be the dwelling of your soul, where every fear melts in loving arms. When you let me be Lord of your today, tomorrow will no longer threaten you, because you will know tomorrow rests in my hand, the hand that formed the universe, that lifted you when you fell, and that will never let you go. There are times you think that without constant preparing and vigilance, you will be hurt, yet that very worry is the chain that imprisons your soul. You imagine you are protecting yourself, but you are building walls that keep me out. You suppose yourself strong when you anticipate every risk, yet you are weakened each time you place yourself in the seat of the one who holds the future. I have not called you to be the Lord of your life. I have called you to be my beloved child, to live in the safety of love, rather than under the pressure of controlling all things. Lift your eyes to the heavens. Do you see the birds that fly without fretting over tomorrow? They neither store nor scheme, yet each morning they sing, because they know the one who made them is the one who feeds them day by day. And you, my child made in my image, are you worth less than a little bird? Let your anxieties fall like withered leaves, and let me teach you how to stand still in the storm. True peace is not when the tempest ends, but when you know I am in its very midst. Look back over your life. Is it not in the seasons that seemed most broken that you saw my love most clearly? When you lost much, then you learned what it means to be loved without condition. When you had nothing left to grasp, then you discovered that I am the one, foundation that cannot be shaken. I do not promise you a path without trials, but I promise that in every trial you will not be alone. When your tears fall, I stoop to gather each one, keeping them like jewels in my palm. Do not fear failure. It is only the rough shell of the lesson I desire you to receive. Do not fear loss. Whatever is taken opens a space I will fill with new grace. Do not fear suffering. It is the furnace in which your soul grows radiant. And do not fear closed doors. Sometimes I must shut a small door to open the whole sky to you. You often ask me, why must I endure? Why must I tread such stony roads? My child, without those roads, how would you learn how strong your feet are and how near I walk with you? Without the night, how would you behold the shimmer of dawn? Without the storm, how would you know how deep the roots of your faith have sunk? I allow you to pass through sorrow not because I am indifferent, but so your heart may mature, your love be tempered, purer, and more enduring. Every pain carries a seed of transformation. Each endurance is a small rebirth. When you learn to view every trial through the lens of grace, you will see that nothing is truly lost. Only the forms of love are changing, drawing you closer to me. Let faith become your breath and trust your heartbeat. When you no longer need to have the answers, when you cease striving to understand all things, when you can simply bow and say, I trust you, then your soul enters true freedom. This is not surrender born of defeat, but a conscious entrustment, the bravest act of all courage to believe what you cannot see. And when you do, a soft symphony of peace will rise within. Trust does not make you weak, it makes you strong, for when you stop straining to control, I can work in you fully. When you cease your thrashing, the current of grace can carry you to the safe shore. Remember, this world shifts, people change, time wears down all things, but my love never alters. Found your life upon it, and no storm will topple you. When you are weary, return to me. When you are unsettled, be still and listen. You will find my voice does not thunder like storm clouds. It is as gentle as a breeze, warm as the first light of day, and enough to rekindle the lamp of hope within your heart. Do not run to far-off places for answers. I am in your very breath, in your gaze, in each step you take. Whenever you look up and call my name, I am already there. Therefore, beloved child, do not live twice. Live once fully in the present where I am. Do not borrow fear from tomorrow. I have paid that debt in full with my love upon the cross. Trust that nothing comes to you outside my providence. Even when you do not understand, believe that I understand. Even when you cannot see, believe that I see. Even when you cannot feel me, believe that I am there. In every beat, every breath, every moment you remain. And when you dare to believe thus, peace will return, like the dawn's mist, covering your soul with the breath of heaven. For, my child, the miracle is not that you know what is coming, but that you know who holds it. When you know all things rest in my hands, fear loosens its grip. When you trust that I love you more than you love yourself, worry grows silent. And when you learn to live each day within my embrace, you will discover that all you ever sought, happiness, peace, meaning, has been in me from the very beginning. Trust me for today, and you will see that tomorrow has long been cradled in my love. My beloved child, when you listen quietly to your heart's own rhythm, you will recognize that generations have borne their burdens of worry as if they were inseparable from the human lot. They lived with shoulders bent beneath weights not yet arrived, feared days not yet born, and tired themselves with what could not be predicted. So did you. There were times you trembled before the future, thinking peace would be yours only if everything lay firmly in your grasp. But, my child, peace is not where you control your life, it is where you let me govern it. When you release your tangled designs and place your trust in me, then you truly become free. For I have never demanded your perfection. I have only desired that you open your heart so that I may bring to completion every good thing within you. Remember this, my child. I do not promise that the road you walk will always be smooth, but I do promise that I will hold your hand through every rough place. With every step you take, I have gone before you to clear the way. With every tear you shed, I see and keep it, like a gem shimmering in my treasury. There are nights when you think you are alone, yet in that very darkness, I am beside you, quietly drying your tears and whispering, "Do not be afraid, for I am here." You do not need to worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow rests fully in the palm of my hand, where no wind can disturb it. Everything I allow to happen carries deep meaning, even when you do not understand. For your story is not a scatter of fragments, but a work I am shaping with love. The hands that form the mountains and stretch the canopy of the heavens are tenderly writing your life. I know every breath you take, every hidden desire, every fear you have not dared to say aloud. And I love it all, not only your strength, but also your weakness, your hesitation, the moments when you think you believe in nothing at all. My child, joy does not come from having things turn out your way, but from discovering that my will is better than anything you could imagine. Believe that when I seem to delay, it is not because I forget, but because I am arranging for you to receive what is most fitting at the most perfect time. Perhaps today you see only clouds and silence, but beyond those clouds a dawn is already waiting. One day you will look back and exclaim, "Why was I afraid? Why did I doubt? You were there all along, making beautiful what had been broken." For with me, nothing is wasted, no pain is meaningless, no tear is forgotten. Every wound you have borne, I turn into a seed from which the blossoms of grace will bloom. You thought you were losing, but in truth you were being transformed. You thought you were alone, but in truth you were being led into the deepest chamber of love. How many times you wanted to let go, yet I never left. I simply drew you back gently, like a patient father waiting for his wandering child to come home. You will understand that I do not build your life with ease, but with a love so deep that I permit you to face trials so that you may grow, so that you may learn to trust. And when you have passed through long nights of fear, you will see clearly that it is in the dark that faith is kindled. You will no longer seek peace in what is passing, because you have found it in me, the unchanging source. Then one day, you will see that the road which once made you tremble is a very road that leads you to your greatest joy. You will smile to realize that the light never left you. At times you simply turned your face away. The future you fear is in truth a doorway to blessings yet unopened. When you step through, you will understand that everything rests in my hands, the hands that once spread out the sky and are now gently shaping the contours of your life, bit by bit. Do not be quick to blame yourself for being afraid or fragile. I know how tender your heart is, and it is precisely that tenderness that makes you sensitive to love. When you break, I can fill you with light. And when you weep because you trust, not because you fear, then you have touched the true soul of peace. Do not strive to understand everything, for if you understood all things, you would have no need of faith. I do not ask you to know what lies ahead. I ask you to take my hand today and keep walking. Each day, I will continue writing this story with the pen of love, so that when you look back, every scratch and every headwind will stand as a witness to my kindness. Then you will see that your life is not as dark as you once thought, but radiant with the brightness of my presence. You will be amazed to discover that every fear was only a veil over blessing, every trial only a summons drawing you nearer to me. And when you place your whole heart in me, you will cease to expect a perfect life and desire only to live within unchanging love. Believe, my child, that everything you are living today is being woven with the thread of divine intention. Though you cannot see the whole picture, I am crafting a masterpiece in which every shade, light and dark has its place. Every upheaval is a delicate stroke. Every waiting is a quiet pause by which I carve more depth. I did not only create the world, I am renewing your heart day by day. And then, when you reach the end of the road, you will look back with a profound gratitude. You will see that what you thought was loss was in truth, grace given in another form. What you thought was an ending was only the beginning of wonder. You will bow your head and whisper, "Lord, I thank you, for you have drawn my life with lines so marvelous I myself could never have conceived them." You will know that nothing on this journey was in vain, for all things were held within the love of the one who loved you before you were formed. And when the final dawn breaks, you will stand in the fullness of faith and recognize that what I promised does not fade. I have been with you, I am with you, and I will be with you forever. My beloved child, listen within the depths of your heart, where the noise of worry and fear grows quiet, where only breath remains and the pulse of faith. Long ago, in a vast and barren wilderness, beneath a burning sky and upon a parched earth, my people passed through days with no knowledge of what tomorrow would bring. Yet every early morning, as the dawn brushed the dunes, they saw manna fall gentle as mist, soft as a promise. They could not keep it for the next day, for it would spoil, and I ordained it so that they might learn that life is not stored in reserves, but flows in the stream of daily trust. I wanted them to open their eyes in a desert of dryness and see that grace still remained inexhaustible, that my hand was outstretched day by day, hour by hour. So too today, my child, do not clutch at answers for days not yet come. Do not sketch the future with the colors of present fear. You need not know all. You need not understand all. Simply walk in the light I give you for this day. For if I am the one who let manna fall in the wasteland, I am also the one who lets peace fall into your soul. You do not need to store up faith. You need to live in it day by day, moment by moment, as if it were both your last breath and your first. Do you see, when you try to control everything, when you fear that tomorrow will be empty, you forget that I alone am the one who fills. No, Manna survives the night, for faith cannot be kept in jars. It lives only when it is used, trusted, breathed. The more you try to stockpile it, the drier your heart becomes, because faith is not born of safety but of surrender. Let me be your warmth in the midnight chill. Let me be your light in the darkest hours. When you lift your eyes to the sky and see no path, when you are lost on the ocean of doubt, remember that I am still there, the unceasing source of life. Each day you live is a day when I scatter the manna of fresh mercy. You do not need to force the chapters I have not yet opened. For every page of your life I am writing with my own grace. You cannot see it all, for if you saw it all, you would no longer need to trust. I want you to dwell in the space between not yet known and still I believe, because it is in that very space that my love is revealed. Just as in the wilderness my people hungered and thirsted and complained, yet when they looked back, they found that through those 40 years their feet did not swell and their garments did not wear out. Do you see? My faithfulness never runs dry, though human hearts may change. I want you to understand that I am not only your provider, I am your very portion. I do not give to you only to take back, I give you myself. Do not seek security in what can be lost, for only I do not change. Everything else is but a mirage, slipping away like sand in the wind. You do not need to hoard answers for tomorrow, because I am the answer. You do not need to script your own life, because I am the author. You do not need to clutch at life, because I am the breath of life. And when you let me be your daily bread, you will discover that every bite, every tear, every small joy of the day carries the flavor of a miracle. There will be nights when you feel empty, days when you think I am silent, yet even in silence I am at work. As manna did not fall before dawn, so my grace also arrives at the right time, neither early nor late. You must learn the rhythm of faith, the cadence of each day, each sunrise, each sunset. When you crave knowledge of the future, I bid you stop and look at today, for today is enough. You cannot eat tomorrow's bread before today has passed, just as you cannot live in a day I have not yet called. Let your heart grow light. Exhale your calculations. Let trust take the place of fear. You have grown weary trying to clutch happiness, but happiness is not found in a clenched hand, it is found in an open one. When you release, you discover you are held. I do not ask you to understand everything. I ask you to trust. For faith is not blind acceptance. It is the light that pierces the night of reason, the whisper within the silence. You are not alone. Each morning you wake, receive grace as though for the first time. Live as one who is loved not because you are worthy, but because I am faithful. I know you are afraid of loss, of lack, of tomorrow, but did not. My people fear as well. They once asked, "Will we die of hunger here?" And yet they lived, for I was among them, and now I am among you. There is no need to store manna, no need to hoard blessing, because I am the river that never stops flowing. You cannot exhaust me, just as the ocean cannot be emptied by a cupped hand. Let your heart rest in that abundance. When you sit in the night, gaze at a solitary light, and think you have nothing left, remember that in those desolate places, the manna begins to fall. When you think all is lost, I raise all things anew. You do not need strength to continue, only a heart that consents to trust. Let your heart become like a field ready for rain, for I will pour at the appointed season. You need not search for manna elsewhere, for I am here. In every breath, in every second, you are alive. I am your portion not only for today, but forever. And when you understand that I am your daily bread, you will desire nothing beyond me. You will know that enough is not having much but having me. When you learn this, your heart will be free, free from fear, from want, from the dread of tomorrow. You will walk lightly, knowing that with every step I walk with you. Each breeze will be a reminder, each sunbeam a pledge, each night an invitation to believe. Beloved child, cease storing up answers you do not yet need, for I am living with you in every question. Stop striving to write chapters I have not opened, for your story is being written by my unchanging love. Lay down your fear of tomorrow, for I am already there, as I am here. My manna never runs out, and my grace never ceases. You need only open your hands, receive, and believe that today, as on every day, I am faithful, I am your portion, I am your daily bread, sweet and sufficient for every soul that leans on me. Beloved child, there is a holy mystery in the way I weave the threads of time, a mystery whose hidden grace you will perceive if you would linger long enough. Like fragrance, folded inside a bud yet to open, I do not give you the power to know everything beforehand, not because I wish to conceal, but because my love is too deep to burden you with what is not yet yours. The future is a land still being conceived, a garden where seeds have only just been sown. If you hurry to claw the soil for sprouts, you will break the tender shoots. That is why I veil the future, not to make you afraid, but to teach you trust, to show you that sweetness belongs to the one who waits for the season. Do you not see that everything has its rhythm? The rain cannot fall before the cloud is heavy. Dawn cannot arrive before night has finished its course, and fruit cannot ripen before the branch has had time to bear it. So it is with the future. It is not something to be forced, but the harvest of today's faithfulness. If you pluck it while it is still green, its bitterness will sting your heart, but if you let it ripen in the light of my grace, you will taste a sweetness beyond compare. My child, do not be anxious, for I have placed in each day all that you need for that day. Every morning you open your eyes, I call you into a new beginning where you may sow the seeds of faith, perseverance, and gratitude. Tend the soil of the present, for it is the nursery of the tomorrow you long for. If you stare too far ahead, you will stumble where you stand. Trust me, nothing is lost when you give yourself wholly to today. Every drop of sweat, every smile, every breath, offered with meaning, becomes a stream that carries you toward the light of tomorrow. You often think the future is of your making, but in truth it is woven from how you live now. Like a potter shaping wet clay, the vessel of tomorrow does not come from a distant blueprint, but from each skilled turn of the hand in this very moment. Look around you. All creation is teaching this lesson. The tree does not rush to grow tall. It increases in silence, each leaf and tender shoot unfurling in its own time. The bird does not know its entire flight path, yet its wings have learned to trust the wind. The river needs no map, yet it finds the open sea. Why, then, would you force your soul to run ahead of time when I have written a distinct rhythm for every moment? How often you are tired not because life is too hard, but because you try to do tomorrow's work today. You shoulder a weight not yet given, and so you have no strength left to love the present, the only place where I am with you. I want you to learn to live slowly, to draw a deep breath, and to feel that even now I am filling this moment with grace. Each breath is a gift, each heartbeat a reminder that you still have the chance to live, to love, to sow what is good. You think peace waits at the end of the road, but no, it is here, within the cadence of what seems ordinary. When you wash a dish, tend a flower, speak a kind word, forgive another, that is when you walk with me. You do not need perfect plans to delight my heart. You need only to live each minute fully, refusing to let your mind be dragged into what has not yet come. For when you are faithful in the small, I will open the great. Understand this, my child. Anxiety about tomorrow does not bring it sooner, it only empties today of meaning. The more you calculate and clutch, the more the future slips through your fingers, for it is not a possession to be seized, but the fruit of trust. I have said, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough of its own. But do you truly believe it? Faith is not merely on your lips, it is revealed in your way of life. If you believe that I am tending your future, you will dare to rest in the present, to smile before the path appears, to love even when you are unsure of being loved in return. Today is a gift, not an obligation. Open it with gratitude. When you are grateful, you will notice that even the smallest things blaze with light the sun on. The window frame, the wind brushing the roof, the smile of a passerby, and each small thing is my way of reminding you that you live within my hand. You are not abandoned, not lost, and if you remain here, in the present, you will recognize that I am guiding every step, like a father holding the hand of a little child, learning to walk, never letting go. Leave the future to me, for that is my work. Your work is to live today to the full, to love wholly, to give your all, to trust deeply, and to let your soul rest. Do not let time flow by while your heart rows upstream, straining after what has not yet come. You cannot summon dawn to arrive early, nor beg the moon to be full at the month's beginning. Everything has its hour, and that hour is in my hand, the hand that has never done a wrong thing. If you will trust, you will come to know that every delay, every slowing, every curve in the road is a necessary part of the journey by which you grow in love and in patience. When you learn to live with me in this very moment, you will find time no longer frightening. The past is a lesson, the future a promise, but the present is where I am. Stop, place your hand upon your heart, and feel that pulse. It is the witness that I am with you. Do not let your mind race ahead, for there it finds only the fog of the unknown. Stay here, where the light is upon your face, where I am whispering. My peace is with you. You do not need to know everything. You need only trust that I know. You do not need to be in control. You need only let me lead. And when you do, you will see wonders unfold not somewhere far away, but in every breath, every glance, every ordinary day. The future will come like the sunrise, at the right time and in the right way. And you will smile to discover that everything you awaited had long been sown in the soil of this very today, when you chose to live by faith rather than by fear. Therefore, my child, pause. Do not hurry off in search of what has not yet come. Be here with me in this present moment. Look upon today as upon a garden waiting for your hands. Sow love, water it with trust, and wait for me to make the flowers bloom. For when you learn to dwell wholly in the present, you do not merely find peace, you touch eternity, where all time melts into the imperishable love that is mine. My child, listen deeply within, that each of my words might touch the innermost place of your soul. The future you fear, the days ahead that seem dark and pathless, are already engraved in my eternal book, line by line, letter by letter, breath by breath. Nothing happens outside my sight. Not a single step you take is unknown to me. Not a single wind that passes through your life has not first been permitted by me. You think you wander lost in a maze of time, yet each turn you make lies within my perfect design, where love and wisdom are woven into a tapestry far greater than you can understand. There is peace in what I know, for it is not cold knowledge as people imagine, but knowledge threaded with love, the love of a father who knows his child better than the child knows itself. I have planned your life, not with the hand of a bookkeeper, but with the heart of a tender father and the mind of a wise king. Everything I allow has a meaning you will one day see. There are places I lead you simply that you might rest and relearn the rhythm of peace. There are stretches where I make you pause, not because you are weak, but because I want you to gather strength for a longer road. And there are battles I permit to flare, not to frighten you, but so that you may behold my power in victories you never dared to dream. You still imagine that I am present only on sunny days, but know even in the black of night, I am there. When you pass through the valley of tears, when the wind howls cold within, when you think I have fallen silent, it is then that I am nearest. My rod and my staff will never depart from you. They will comfort you, uphold you, remind you that you are not alone. You will never walk unaccompanied, whether in radiant dawn or starless midnight. Every beat of your heart, every breath you draw, I know, and I am present. I set my gaze upon you before you knew how to speak my name. And yet, my child, why are you still afraid? Why do you tremble before what I already hold secure in my hand? Why let your mind wander the labyrinth of worries, raising walls of fear, when I have already prepared towers of peace for you, places where you need only run to find refuge? My child, it is time to let go. Cease straining to control what was never yours to master. Release the obsession to know everything and to clutch every answer. For knowing all things cannot save you, knowing me will, and you do know me through every storm I have shielded you in, through every fall from which I have lifted you, through every night of tears I have wiped away. Look back, my beloved. How many times did you think you would collapse? And yet was it not I who carried you through those furnaces? The flames could have consumed you, but I turned them into a fire that refined your soul like gold. How many times did you think the flood would drown you? And I split the waters and opened a path so you crossed without even a hair made wet. How often did you stand before doors that could not be opened? Until I came, touched them lightly, and they swung wide in wonder. Each of those miracles seemed small to you, yet each was my reminder. I am still at work, still loving, still keeping you day by day. Why then, my child, do you still doubt me? If I have done this before, will I not continue to do so? If I have borne you through dark days, would I abandon you at noonday light? I do not change. I am the one who loved you from the beginning, the one who waits with patience through every time you lose your way. You change, you forget, you fear, but I do not forget. My love is not a blaze that flares and fades, but an eternal flame that never goes out. It burns in your every breath and illumines even the corners you dare not face. You may step into the future without knowing what awaits, but you may be certain of this. I am already there before you. I do not promise that the road will always be smooth. I do not say you will never stumble or never feel pain, but I promise that in every trial you will never be alone. When you are weak, I will be your strength. When you are confused, I will be your light. When you fall, I will be the arms that lift you up. When you lose your way, I will be the compass that guides you. You do not need to know everything. You need only know me. For once you truly know me, nothing can make you afraid. Beloved child, learn to trust completely, like a little one resting in the mother's arms, not needing to know where she is going, only knowing those arms are safe. Let me become that peace for you. Stop looking at the future through the lens of anxiety and see it with the eyes of faith. Where I am, there is peace, and where peace dwells, there I am. And you will find that when you cease to thrash and to grasp, it is then you are carried in grace. My child, I am not only the one who writes your story, I am the one who lives with you in every line of it. I am not only the king of the future, but the companion of your present. Each day you live, I remain neither far nor abstract, but real and near. So fear no more, worry no more, strive no more to understand everything. Only take my hand. Let me lead you through seasons of rain and of sunshine, through sorrow and through song. And one day, when you look back, you will understand that every step, every trial, every tear was a brushstroke. I used to paint the beautiful picture of your life. And then you will no longer ask, why, but will softly whisper, thank you, my child. Is not the burden of life already heavy enough without your loading yourself with what was never yours? You are not weary because you are weak, but because you try to carry what I never placed upon your shoulders. Anxieties, calculations, the things you think you must grasp, so everything will not collapse. These are invisible stones that weigh your soul down. I watch you trudging, sweat-soaked and heavy-eyed, and my heart aches. For I know that if you would only lay them down, you would be light as the wind, free as a river returning to the sea. Lay them down. My child, lay at my feet your tangled thoughts, your nameless fears, your unanswered questions. Do not be afraid to speak. Tell me with the trembling voice of your heart. Pour it all out as a child runs to a mother's embrace, needing no polished words, only truth. And once you have emptied it, leave it there. Do not pick it up again. Do not return to gather your sorrows like one begrudgingly clinging to pain. For when you do, you lock yourself in a cage of worry, while I stand with open arms, inviting you into freedom. I do not want to see you bracing yourself to be strong, for true strength is not how much you can resist, but whom you trust. I am strong enough to bear everything that presses you down. You need not strain to seem fine, for I know the turns of your heart better than you know yourself. I know every hidden tear, every stifled sigh in the night. I know the nights you dare not cry aloud lest others hear. Yet I have already heard, and I have not only heard, I am holding your soul, whispering, "Let me carry this for you." Do not think I am merely the place you come to plead in your pain, for I am the place where you may rest. Allow me to be the one who bears your load, for that is the love I desire, to give you a love that does not require your perfection, only your willingness to be weak. I am wise enough to untangle the knots you cannot. How many times you have tried to explain, to reason your way out, and the more you tried, the deeper you wandered into the maze of your thoughts. You forgot that what lies beyond your understanding rests wholly within mine. There are things I have not yet let you comprehend, not because I wish to hide them, but because my love would teach you to trust without seeing. Let me arrange, let me steer the vessel of your life, for I see farther than you see, and know more surely than you know. I do not lead you by shortcuts, but I lead you by sure paths. I do not shield you from every storm, but I guarantee you will reach the harbor, and when you surrender all things into my hands, you will discover that the greatest wisdom is to stop and let me act. I am loving enough to turn what you fear into beauty in its appointed time. You often tremble before what you cannot control, as though the future were a bottomless pit. Yet, my child, I have already seen that road, and every stone you fear to trip upon, I use to pave the way that leads you to glory. Not a single tear is wasted, not a single failure without purpose, for all of it lies within the loving plan I weave with my own hands. Where you see fear, I see a chance for your faith to grow. Where you see a dead end, I see the beginning of a miracle. Trust that nothing now unfolding is against you, for I am arranging it all to shape your soul after my likeness. Let time do its part, for my grace never arrives late. It comes precisely when your heart is ready to receive. Therefore, do not measure your life by what you can predict, for you cannot weigh the plan of the eternal with the fragile scales of man. What you call loss may be the way I add to you. What you think is an ending may be only the prelude to a new triumph. Measure your life by your trust, for trust is the language of heaven, the currency of eternity. Each act of trust is a seed of surrender you deposit into the everlasting, and those very seeds will bloom into a harvest of peace. You cannot carry with you wealth, reputation, or success, but the trust you place in me will endure, shining like a jewel in the sky. Trust is the bridge between what you see and what I have promised. When your eyes see only night, trust is the small lamp that leads the way. When storms howl, trust is my quiet voice. Do not fear, I am here. When nothing seems to unfold as you hoped, trust says, He is still at work. And when all seems to crumble, trust holds you steady, anchoring you to the one who never changes. Let your faith become like a pair of wings that carries you across the chasm of doubt toward the bright country, where my promises burn like a dawn that has never missed its hour. The more you trust, the more clearly you perceive my goodness, not because I suddenly become better, but because your eyes are open to what has always been. You will recognize that miracles happen not only in the grand and rare, but in ordinary breath, in uneventful days, in the small smile you offer another. The more you trust, the more lightly you live, because you know you no longer need to control, you need only walk, step by step, in the peace of the one who has promised you will never lack. The sunrise keeps its time, for I have never missed an appointment with the world, and if I do not forget to wake the sun each morning, how could I forget you, the child whose name I have engraved upon the palms of my hands? Therefore, beloved child, set down the burdens of today and stop borrowing the anxieties of tomorrow. Live in the rest. I give a rest, not dependent on circumstance, but born from the certainty that I am always with you. Let every thought, every feeling, every fear dissolve in my breath. You do not need to be strong to be loved. You need only be real to be healed. Trust me, and you will see each worry slowly turn to light and each sorrow ripen into song, until one day, looking back, you will smile and say, Lord, thank you for not giving me everything I wanted, but for giving me yourself what I truly needed. And that, my child, is the dawn of the soul, a dawn that has never once been late, for it breaks the moment you dare to yield and let me be the Lord of your life. You think you need an answer, a clear explanation for every event that comes, but what your depths seek is not an answer, but assurance, a steadfast anchor for a soul that sways. And now I give you exactly that, an assurance not drawn from arguments or outward signs, but from myself, the ever-living one, who does not change, though time may whirl. My child, I am with you today, tomorrow, and forever. I will not leave you, nor turn my face away in your weakest hours, when you think no one can hear the silent cry within. It is I, yes, I who am listening to every tremor of your heart and every anxious breath you try to hide. When mountains may lean, seas may roar, and the world around you seems to collapse, I will remain the anchor that keeps you from drifting. That anchor is not forged of iron or stone, but of inexhaustible love, love that time cannot erode and suffering cannot fade. When night falls and shadows appear to swallow your soul, I will be the light that never goes out, a light that not only shows the way but warms and leads you along the worn paths of fear. When you are bewildered by countless questions without answers, when your mind storms and your faith seems to dissolve, then, in the midst of that chaos, my voice will rise, not loud, not coercive, but gentle and sure. Peace, be still. One word is enough to quiet the waves within you, like a windless lake after the tempest. My beloved child, sit now and listen to me, not with the ears of reason, but with a heart made soft by weariness. Let my voice soak to the deepest place in your soul, the place you have feared to touch. I am pouring blessings over you, not the showy blessings of this world, but the blessing of true life, the life that revives your spirit. You fear the future because you think it holds only darkness, yet in truth, that future is a garden of my own planting. Every blade of grass, every flower, every breeze in that garden bears my fingerprints. Nothing there is accidental, and not a single one of your steps is meaningless. That future is not the abyss you dread, but a bright garden where the stream of grace runs softly like a song, and the fragrance of peace infuses every breath. There you will no longer be tangled in calculations nor afraid when a door has yet to open, for you will know that I am the keeper of the keys. Each time you lift your head, you will see me smiling, not far off, but within every moment you live. Every blooming flower, every gentle wind is my way of saying, I am still here. And in that garden you will discover that the wounds which once caused you pain have become little streams that nourish your soul to grow in trust. I decree life over you, not despair. From beginning to end, my word does not change. You will live, and you will live in me. When I speak life, I breathe hope and strength and new breath into the parched places of your heart. I decree joy, not sorrow. This joy does not depend on circumstances, nor is it quenched by adversity, for it does not come from the world, but from an eternal spring. I decree abundance, not lack, and by abundance I mean more than material things. I mean a soul filled to the brim, the fullness of peace, gratitude, and love. Over your days I declare a journey not of worry or disappointment, but of sacred signs of my presence. On every stretch you travel, whether steep or rough, my hand guides you. There are times you think you are lost, yet in truth, I am teaching you to see me in the bends. There are steps that feel unsteady, yet those very steps teach you to lean on me more, to trust deeper, to love more completely. You do not walk alone, you never have. Therefore, do not be afraid. Do not let the clamor of life drown out my tender voice. Remember, I am not only the one who is with you on sunny days, but the one who carries you through the rainy nights. Nothing you pass through escapes my sight. Every step, every tear, every breath is kept by me, for you are the masterpiece of my love. And when you lift your eyes toward me, you will see that the light has never departed. At times, you only shut your eyes in fear. My child, your life is not written by chance, but by the hand of the infinitely wise one. The future is not a dreadful chasm, it is a garden of wonders awaiting your discovery. In that garden, you will see grace pour like a stream, peace diffuse like a fragrance, and my love cover you like gentle sunlight. Though you stand in the winter of trial, believe that spring will come, for I have ordained it. No darkness lasts forever, no night is without end, because I, your light, am ever present, ceaselessly calling your name in the hush of eternity. My child, do you know that no step you take is ever solitary? For I have stationed angels along the road of your life, messengers of strength and light, silently carrying out orders from my throne to guard you in every breath and every moment you do not even perceive. There were times you thought you walked in emptiness, that no one understood or accompanied you. Yet in each weary step my angels encircled you, sheltering, upholding, and warding off dangers you never saw. They are not only watchmen but also forerunners who clear the way so that what I have promised arrives at the right time, in the right place, and in the right manner. For I, who created you, never allow any part of your journey to be without purpose. In the folds of the years I have hidden treasures not of silver or fame, but of unexpected calm, friendships blooming in moments you never foresaw, and victories sprouting from days you thought would break you. You have wept and wrestled and asked, why? Yet, I tell you, nothing in your life is wasted. Those tears did not fall into the void. They became seeds sown in my heart to one day blossom within your own soul. Every prayer you whispered in the night, every pain you hid in silence, I have heard and I have seen, and I have never forgotten. Each sigh you thought was lost in the sky was a small hymn that drifted into heaven like a thread of incense, bearing the true love of a heart returning to its God. I bless your mind with stillness, so the storms of overthinking may cease, and the winds of anxiety may no longer howl. When your thoughts grow quiet, my peace will fall softly like gentle rain upon the dry fields of your ideas. In that calm you will hear my voice, not thundering or fierce, but a whisper like wind touching leaves. I am here. This peace is not the absence of storms. It is the certainty that I still hold the helm within the storm. Let me place in you courage, not the kind that shouts, but the quiet, enduring kind that helps you face each day not with trembling but with trust. True faith is not the absence of fear. It is walking forward despite fear because you know I am beside you. I bless your eyes to see the small things I have scattered through the present, the laughter of a friend lifting your spirit, the sun's warmth on your skin like my hand caressing you, the breeze in your hair like the breath of my spirit. Do you see it? Eternity is touching every moment you live in, each meal, each glance, each second of stillness. This world is not a chain of accidents, it is a symphony I have composed in notes of meaning. Even when you do not understand the music, I invite you to listen, for within every sound is the rhythm of my heart. I declare that your future is not fragile, for it is woven with eternal threads within my everlasting plan. Those plans are unmoved by upheaval and unhindered by your failures, for I am the one who does not know defeat. You may stumble, stray, or ache, but you will never be abandoned. Your future does not dangle in the wind of fate. It is anchored in my hand, the hand that made heaven and earth, and now upholds you each day. I also declare that the doors I open for you will not lead to confusion but to clarity, not to harm but to hope. At first you may not understand why I close a door, yet you will discover that sometimes grace takes the form of a door shut. I know what lies beyond what, if you saw it, would make you thank me for restraining you. I never open a path for you to get lost. I open it to draw you nearer to the light. And as you pass through those doors, you will see all things begin to join together, old tears becoming refreshing streams and former failures turning into stepping stones for greatness. One day you will find yourself standing where you feared you could never reach. That place is not merely a summit, but the place where you understand that everything had a reason. You will look back and see the dusty road and the wounds that once laid you low now shining as marks of faith. Then you will no longer ask, why? But quietly say, the Lord has been faithful to me. You will know that not a single tear was useless, not a single prayer forgotten, not a single day of pain without hidden grace. My beloved child, remember that I am still writing your story with the ink of faithfulness. Though you cannot see the next page, I already know the ending, and it is an ending of glory, of healing, of unfading joy. Walk in peace, for my angels continue to keep watch over you. Trust, for the treasures in your day still hold many unopened wonders. Lift up your head, for the sky above you is filled with promises not yet spent. You do not need to be strong to be loved by me. You need only be honest to be healed. You do not need to be perfect to be used by me. You need only be sincere to be transformed. For it is precisely when you are weak that my power is made perfect. And in all things, from today's laughter to tomorrow's tears, I remain who I am, the unchanging, one who has called you by name and who will faithfully keep you to the very end. My child, I promise you this, a day will come when every question that once unsettled your heart, every doubt that gnawed at your faith, every whisper of fear that lurked in the night of your soul will fall silent. Not because you have found every answer, but because you will no longer need them. When my light is sufficient and full, the questions that weighed you down will melt like mist in the morning sun. You will look back on your life, and what once made you weep will become a source of thanksgiving. What once made you afraid will become a witness to enduring love. Then you will understand that no tear is wasted and no night is woven without threads of grace. Even the deepest wounds have been touched by my kindness, and those very cracks are the places where my light has shone to heal. One day you will turn around, not with regret but with holy wonder. You will see the whole road you have traveled with all its rough stretches, bends, chasms, and peaks gathered into a splendid mosaic that only I could compose. Every fragment, pain or joy, disappointment or hope, has been set by me in its right place to form the perfect picture of your life. Then you will say in your heart, I would not trade away anything for every tear, every storm. Every fall has brought me closer to the heart of God, and you will know that grace does not arrive in the absence of suffering. It is born within it, like a lotus blooming in the mud yet unblemished. Therefore, my child, step forward today not as one bound by shadows, but as one crowned with light. Lift up your head, for the light not only illuminates your path, but shines from within you. You are a temple where I dwell, a small lamp bright enough to burn in the night of this world. When you walk in faith, each step becomes a prayer, and each breath a hymn of hope. Walk with the heart of one loved without condition, of one no longer defined by mistakes but renewed by grace. You need not carry the burden of the past nor tremble over the future, for the past has been redeemed, the present is sacred, and the future is secured in my love. Engrave this in your heart: I go before you, I stand beside you, and I dwell within you. There is no stretch of your journey where I am absent. When you think you are alone, that is when I am bearing the heaviest part. When you collapse in weariness, I do not leave. I stoop down, place my hand upon your shoulder, and gently raise you. When you think you have lost the way, you are in fact being led by me along the narrow path of growth. I go before to open the way, I remain beside to strengthen you, and I am within you to kindle light. My love not only surrounds you, it mingles with the very beat of your heart. If you learn to listen, in every silence you will hear me whisper, I am here. You often think faith is seeing first, yet true faith is stepping even when you see nothing. Because you know I have seen in your stead. Do not fear the dark, for I have filled it with my endless radiance. Do not fear tomorrow, for I have written it in unfading love. And do not fear yourself, for I have chosen to dwell within you, not because you are perfect, but because you are mine. My love is not a reward for the deserving. It is the source that makes you worthy. When you are weak, I am strong for you. When you are directionless, I am the compass. When you are in pain, I am the arms that hold you in stillness. Remember, my child, your past, no matter how shadowed, has been touched by my light. There is no sin. My gracious blood cannot cleanse, no memory my love cannot redeem. The past is no longer a burden but a witness to forgiveness. The present is holy, for in this very moment you live in me, breathe by my breath, and walk on the road I have made. And the future, oh, your future is firm, not because you can control it, but because I cradle it in my loving hands. When you believe this, you will know true peace, not the peace that comes from things going your way, but the peace that comes from knowing all things rest in mine. And then, each morning when you wake, before anxiety finds a way in, whisper to your own soul, my God is here. Let that sentence become the day's first breath, spreading through your whole being like the early sun. It is the affirmation that you do not step into a new day alone, that light has gone before you into every plan, every turn, every encounter. And when night falls and you lie down in stillness, let your heart rest in the knowing that I never close my eyes. When the whole world sleeps, I keep watch. When you are frail, I remain steadfast. I keep you with an unblinking gaze, like a father seated beside his dreaming child, one hand resting lightly over its heart, only to be sure that gentle rhythm goes on. You do not have to be strong for a lifetime, for I am your strength. You do not have to understand everything, for I am the one who knows all. You need not fear losing your way, for I have made a path for you. Let your soul find rest in that. Trust, for nothing, neither sorrow nor death, can separate you from the love I have for you. Live, love, believe, for all that has been, all that is, and all that will be, is leading you back to my heart, where every question, every worry, every longing dissolves, until only one thing remains. I and you, in a love that never fades. Beloved child, I keep watch over you, moment by moment, like a shepherd who does not take his eyes off the flock in the misty night, like a father who stays awake beside a fevered bed, like a king who guards his realm with his heart as well as his power. I do not watch you out of duty, but out of love. Every step you take, every breath you draw, I attend not to judge, but to cherish, to uphold, to soothe you when your courage drains away. You need not worry that I forget, nor fear that I am far, for I am never careless with the soul my own hands have formed. As a shepherd counts his sheep before the night descends, so I count your heartbeats, your falling tears, the little prayers you whisper in secret. And though the world may reel and the seasons shift, I am the one who does not sleep and does not tire, guarding you with a gaze full of grace. One day, when time folds shut and the scars of your life shine as emblems of glory, you will stand before me no longer afraid of what might have been, no longer trembling over missed chances, but radiant with joy because everything I have done has reached its fullness. You will see that not a single tear was wasted, that every surrender, every trusting prayer, every morning you chose to rise though your heart was unsteady, each one was precious. You will understand that no moment of trust is ever in vain, for every time you dared to place your hand in mine, a portion of the miracle began within you. Then you will lift your gaze to me, and in your eyes there will be a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. I will smile, touch your brow, and speak the words before which heaven and earth fall silent. Well done, my child. I will recount the road you have walked, the hard days when you chose to believe, the dark nights when you kept your heart praying, the hours when you could not see me and still followed the call of faith. You believed though the way was veiled, you loved though that love was tested, you entrusted yourself when there was nothing left to cling to. And now you shall behold what I have seen from before all ages, that my will was never a burden but a blessing beyond measure, that what you thought was loss was only seed sown to blossom into an eternal spring. You will know that my grace is never late. It only waits for its appointed hour to bloom. Then every doubt will vanish like morning mist before the dawn, and every wound will turn into a clear jewel reflecting the light of faithfulness. You will no longer ask, why? Because every question will be answered by my very presence. You will see that all I have done, the delays, the bends in the road, the contrary winds, was arranged to bring you to the place of perfect peace. And when I say to you, now go in peace, go in joy, you will understand it is not a farewell but an invitation into the life made full, where joy does not fade, where peace is never troubled, where love never lets go. I, your God, will still be there, as I have always been there from your first cry to your final breath, and beyond that still, in the everlasting country where tears and fear are no more. There is no ending where I am absent. There is no era I do not hold. You shall go, but never go from me. You shall live, but live in me. You shall love, but that love shall be nourished from my own eternal heart. Thank you, for you have listened to my voice, not only with your ears, but with your soul. Thank you for pausing amid the clamor of life to hear me whisper in the gentle wind. I rejoice to see you come to me, like a child returning to a father's arms, and if you would, go on receiving my daily words, not to add to knowledge, but to water your spirit and grow your faith, then open your heart and keep it awake. Each morning I am still speaking, still calling your name through sunlight, birdsong, and all the ordinary things steeped in love. Remember, you need not look for me in far places. Only lift your eyes softly, and you will see I am keeping watch not only above you, but in every breath and every beat of your heart. For I, who made heaven and earth, am also the one who knows each small trembling within your soul. And from now until the end of the age, I remain the same, Father, Shepherd, King, and the friend who will never leave you. Now, beloved child, offer me your prayers, not in formulas or bare rites, but in the true rhythm of your heart, where your soul meets me in sacred silence. Let every word you utter be more than speech. Let it be the breath of faith, the current of trust, the fragrant offering rising to the throne of grace of the Podcast, one who promised to be with you forever. O Almighty God, who has set angels to guard me on every path, I bow in gratitude and trembling before your vast love. There were hours when I walked through shadow and thought I was alone, but now I know each of my steps was encircled by your light. You hid treasures inside days that seemed ordinary, that I might learn to recognize the miracle in what is small. Grant me stillness in the storm, that your peace may soak into my mind as rain into the earth. Give me eyes to behold the wonders unfolding around me, and a heart humble enough to trust that nothing you do is meaningless. O Father of light and life, I thank you that you have not let a single one of my days pass to waste. In secret tears, you have recorded every drop. In every little prayer, you have listened and kept it like a jewel. Teach me to trust your eternal plan, even when I do not understand. Grant me courage to walk within the gray, believing that the doors you open lead me to hope and not to confusion. Lord, let me see your hand weaving my future, not with fear, but with love, not by chance, but with perfect wisdom. O faithful Lord, I come to you with a heart learning to trust day by day. I once trembled before the unknown, but now I know you order all things in love. Teach me not to write my story ahead of you, but to let you write it in grace and mercy. Show me that in every trial there lies the seed of triumph, and in every sorrow the warmth of your presence. Help me not to grow weary in waiting, for I know you are always on time, and when I am weak, remind me that you do not require my strength, you desire my trust. O God, the fountain of life, I offer you a soul that longs to rest in your peace. I know my future is not fragile, for it is woven into your eternal design. Steady my steps though the road runs long, for you are the one who leads. When I find a door closed, let me remember it is a no shaped by love. When I stand before a path that seems to end, remind me that you have sent your angels to stand guard. Free me from the fear of tomorrow, for you are already there, preparing every breath of grace for me. O gracious Creator, I give you thanks that you never let me go alone. Open my heart to see the wonders hidden in small things. A friend's smile, the tender sunlight, the whisper of wind through leaves. Grant me a heart that views life with gratitude rather than fear. Teach me to love each moment, for in each moment you are present. Though I fall and stumble, let me remember that your hand is always outstretched and never withdrawn. You have called me by name, and you will never forget me. O Almighty God, keeper of my soul, I thank you that everything in my life has meaning before you. Help me understand that even losses and pains are pieces of the great picture you are painting. When I am weak, grant strength. When I am confused, grant light. When I am lonely, grant love. Give me humility to confess I cannot walk without you, and faith enough to believe you will not let me stray. O God of hope, I know you are at work in the silence. Each time I suppose you are quiet, you are preparing something better. Grant me patience to wait and courage to continue. Teach me to see your hand in what is imperfect, and to hear your voice in the intervals of my soul. Help me remember always, not one of my tears falls unseen by you, not one sigh is forgotten. O merciful and righteous Father, I offer you thanks for the angels you appoint to guard me, and for the peace by which I find rest. Remind me that every blessing is not a coincidence, but the fruit of your love. Teach me to receive each day as a new gift, not with worry, but with reverence. Though I do not see the road clearly, let me walk in the trust that you are guiding every step. O Almighty Lord, I praise you that every tear of mine has weight before you. No pain is ignored, no moment is wasted. I thank you for the unseen angels who lifted me when I collapsed, for the peace you let fall upon my soul like gentle rain. I thank you that your love is not withdrawn when I am weak, and that every day I live is proof that you are still working wonders. O Lord, who is faithful, I thank you that in every trial you hide a blessing. I thank you that on the days I thought I was breaking, you were sowing the seed of victory. I thank you that in prayers that seemed unanswered, you were working in secret. I thank you that you have made my future firm in your love, neither fragile nor adrift. O loving Father, I thank you for teaching me to glimpse eternity in the present, in laughter, in light, in breath. I thank you for showing me that true happiness is not in what I hold, but in the one who holds me. Every moment with you is a wonder, and I want to live each day fully within that gratitude. O Lord of goodness, I give thanks that you have turned my life into a witness of your grace. I thank you for the doors you closed that spared me harm, and the doors you opened that led me into clarity. I thank you that through every step I have learned, nothing is random, for all is woven by your hand. May my soul forever bless you, the one who was faithful, who is faithful, and who will be faithful to the ages of ages. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.